We have our city manager, Blair King. We have our deputy city attorney, Andrew Salming. We have all council people, and we also have our city clerk, Christine Brown, and Ben helping us with IT. City clerk, would you please call the roll?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Christine Brown, City Clerk. Please state for the record if you're present after I call your name. Mayor Matthews.
Present.
Deputy Mayor Quitsland.
Present.
Councilmember Dietz.
Present.
Councilmember Fantmore Johnson.
Present.
Councilmember Hytopoulos.
Present.
Councilmember Morwaki.
Present.
Councilmember Schneider.
Present.
Thank you.
And now let's say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Flag of the United States and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I'd also like to read the Suquamish land acknowledgement. Every part of this soil is sacred in the estimation of my people. Every hillside, every valley, every plain and grove has been hallowed by some sad or happy event in days long vanished. Chief Seattle, 1854. We would like to begin by acknowledging that the land on which we gather is within the ancestral territory of the Suquab, people of clear salt water, Suquamish people. Expert fishermen, canoe builders, and basket weavers, the Suquab live in harmony with the lands and waterways along Washington's central Salish Sea as they have for thousands of years. Here, the Suquab live and protect the land and waters of their ancestors for future generations as promised by the Point Elliott Treaty of 1855. And next we will Councilmember Morwaki.
Thank you, Mayor Matthews. I move approval of today's business agenda as presented.
A second.
Thanks. We have a motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, with that, are there any conflicts of interest? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to public comment. It's really great to see lots of folks here this evening. I look forward to hearing from all of you. You will have 3 minutes. Remember, there is no clapping or cheering just because there are people, different opinions, and we don't want anyone to ever feel like theirs is wrong or they're not valued. So I look forward to all of you and hearing from all of you. And with that, let's start public comment. Thanks. First is Savannah.
Hello, good to see you guys again. All right. Hi, my name is Savannah Revelstead and I grew up here. Aside from leaving the state for college, I spent my entire life here. After college, I moved back because I wanted to share this wonderful island with my wife and hopefully one day our children. But the truth is, as things stand now, I'll be priced out within about 2 years. My family won't qualify for the affordable housing units that are proposed down on Winslow. Our income is technically too high, even if it's not high enough to live comfortably. And yet, even knowing I won't live in this building, I'm here to say I support it fully because this project isn't just about my family. It's about who gets to belong on Bainbridge. It's about whether the people who teach our kids, brew our coffee, care for our elders, and keep this island running deserve a chance to live here too. Make no mistake, we are in a crisis. Being ranked in the bottom 3% nationally for affordable housing is a disgrace. Average rent on this island makes housing unattainable for most of the workforce that sustains it. And home ownership, forget it. Skyrocketing real estate prices have long since placed the dream out of reach for all but the very wealthy and the very lucky. Our teachers, daycare workers, medical staff, servers, chefs, housekeepers, and retail employers are not extras in this community. They are the community. They are the ones who serve, care, feed, and keep the rhythm of the daily life alive. Yet year after year, they're being pushed out, prized away from the very place they spend their life sustaining. This crisis affects more than just housing. Our school faces dwindling enrollment and shrinking budgets because we've left no room for young families. Independent businesses that once gave Winslow its character are being replaced with glorified gift shops. Family homes sit empty for most of the year, bought up by investors that will never step foot here. The message is clear. Those who built and love this island matter less than those who want to sell it as a product. And instead of prioritizing attainable housing, we've told the solution is another plaza, another museum, another empty attraction for visitors. Winslow doesn't need another tourist hub. What it needs, and what it has needed for years, is attainable housing. What it needs is respect for the people who make this island more than a pretty postcard. Yet, yes, there will be concerns. There always are, but those are easily solved in the grand scheme of things. What we can't easily solve is the damage done to our community when we shut people out. The real threat to Bainbridge isn't a building that's too tall. The real threat is the shell of a community where only the wealthiest can stay. So I'm asking you, let's stop talking about being a welcoming community and actually be one. Let's move this project forward, but not just for the people who live there, but for the future of this community we all love. Even if my family or your family never benefit directly, Bainbridge is stronger, fairer, and more alive when others do, and that's what's worth standing up for. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Michelle Bombardier.
Hello, Council. My name is Michelle Bombardier, and I am in strong support of the Workforce Housing Project at 625 Winslow because it will show us who we are. A lot of us put signs up in our yards. We shake them at protests at the intersection that says, "Everybody welcome." We banged our appreciation for essential workers on pots and pans. But make affordable housing happen, that's real. That is impact that will make a positive and lasting difference for our whole community. I'd be proud to be from a community that the first thing visitors see coming here is a museum for art and workforce housing. And proud that it's big because the need is huge. And proud that it's downtown because it should be downtown. That's where the amenities are. This project cuts close to the bone for me. We moved here 35 years ago because Bainbridge was affordable. Our income in 1990 in today's dollars would qualify us for this program. If we want teachers, therapists, healthcare workers, essential workers, then we need to support them with projects like this so more of us can work and live here, workers who show up for community. This project says our seniors and our workers matter, and that is who we are. Please vote accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Kara Williams.
Thank you, council members, for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Kara Williams, and I am a Jesuit volunteer at the Low Income Housing Institute. I want to thank city leaders for prioritizing affordable housing for workers in downtown Winslow. This project will benefit island grocery clerks, bakery managers, cooks, landscapers, and carpenters to all afford housing on the island. Since we have started conducting community outreach, workers have approached us to express their strong support for this affordable housing proposal. Many have asked to share their stories, which I will share with you now. Corey Churchill, Delhi lead at TCC, shared, "I tried to find housing, but it was impossibly unaffordable. I checked out the apartments up the road, but they were way too expensive. I was just above the income requirement for subsidized housing, so now I live in Silverdale. It takes me 40 minutes to get to work in the morning and 90 minutes to get home. Even though I pay less in rent, my fuel costs are now a big financial strain." Vicki Abramson, who works at PIC, shared, "There's no affordable housing for middle-class workers who don't own a car because they don't earn enough to cover gas, insurance, and maintenance. Not to mention affordability now seems to be in Silverdale if you have a car." Victor Chapman, who works at Bainbridge Safeway, shared, "Because of high housing costs on the island, I'm only able to afford rent in Bremerton, which is 45 minutes from the store. I tried to live on the island, but apartments were too expensive, and I earned too much to be in rent-controlled apartments. As a result, I have a lot of wear and tear on my car and high gas costs from commuting." Lauren Weiss, who also works at the Bainbridge Safeway, "I live with my dad because housing costs are far too high on the island. The only apartments in my price range are in Port Orchard." Thank you all for uplifting the voice of community members and recognizing the enormous need for affordable housing for island workers.
Thank you so much. Next, Dashiell Tibbles.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dashel Tibbles, and I'm a member of REAC, but today I'm speaking as a private citizen. When I was in junior year, I took American Studies English, and in that class, we read the book Little Fires Everywhere. And in the book, it explores the story set in a town called Shaker Heights, a real-life town that's famed for its progressive history, its support for civil rights. And throughout the book, you learn that that's more of a facade, right? You learn it's not really how the people are. And I was proud in the class to say that I felt Bainbridge was different. Bainbridge had those ideals, but they tried to, continue to build on them, not stay stagnant. However, recent events have shaken my faith in that idea. I'm not a fourth generation islander. I've only been on this island for 4 years, and I feel lucky to have that chance. My great grandfather came to this country from Mexico with nothing, and I'm only here due to the grace of good paying union jobs, college education, and the fact that my grandmother and my mother never took no for an answer. In this community, it's almost impossible to afford to live here, and the path my family took to get here is gone. But we have an answer that can help the people who make our community what it is. For the teachers, the grocery clerks, the restaurant retail workers, the caregivers, and even the city staff who might have helped set up the meeting today. We know 79% of all surveyed workers on this island want to live here, but can't afford it. And we have a plan. We have a project that we've been working on for 3 years with community input sessions multiple times that can help with traffic, can help reduce water use, and build a monument to what our inclusive beliefs we claim to stand for are. However, instead, our people have been rallying to build public bathrooms in their place. Wannabe politicians have been attacking it, sharing misinformation with abject lies, and people have been saying horrible things, including one I'm going to say right here, which is a quote where someone said, "Yeah, let's turn Bainbridge into a ghetto like Seattle and see where your property prices go." Something I feel I would have seen in a documentary in my history class about the 60s. It's insane. This is Bainbridge Island. We love flamingos. We love troll statues. But instead, we're becoming like the rest of the country, where our government is held at the gunpoint by social media mobs filled with disinformation and misinformation. I love this island, and I love the people who live here. My friends are here. My family is here. My little brother and little sister live here. And I believe the people of this island are good people. And I believe the city council wants to serve the people they've been elected to serve. And so I know it's hard to look past the noise, but if you can look past the noise and see the majority of people, the people who work their days away and spend the little time they have left with their family, they can't go to public comments like I'm here right now. They can't go to hold vigils for never real ideas, and they cannot take the time to post and type paragraphs on Facebook. We're not Seattle, we're not Ballard or any other city, we're Bainbridge Island. And we have a chance to decide what kind of city we're going to be. Are we going to be a city that welcomes people, that knows change is coming, and that holding on to grains of the past is fleeting and impossible, that wants to ensure future growth goes to the people who need it most? Or are we going to give up and let ourselves build a wall that only allows the richest of all people to enter this island?
Thank you. Next, Bethany Randalls.
Hi, my name is Bethany Randalls, and I'm the owner of a local gym, Elevate Strength and Conditioning, located on Day Road. I'm here today to speak about affordable housing, not just as a business owner, but as someone who has lived the struggle of finding a place to belong on Bainbridge Island, and as someone who walks the talk, trying to give back to the community every day that helped me survive here. I grew up in rural Washington in a low-income household. When I moved to Bainbridge in 2014 to manage an existing business, I only found housing because of the compassion of a family I didn't even know. Over the years, through luck, persistence, and the generosity of locals, I was able to stay. In 2020, when I lost my job and my career like so many others, this community lifted me up and supported me in opening my business. Bainbridge has been a place where compassion and generosity created opportunity for me, but for many others today, that door is firmly closed. Bainbridge Island is in a full-blown affordability crisis. According to the National Community Survey, we rank in the bottom 3% nationally for availability of affordable housing. Our city's own survey found that 79% of workers on Bainbridge do not live here, but would if they could afford to. This means our teachers, caregivers, city staff, retail workers, and so many others have to commute long distances every day. At some point, those return trips won't be worth it, and what will remain of the charming downtown that we value so much? We have a state mandate to increase affordable housing, but beyond laws, we also face a moral and economic mandate. Without housing for working families, Bainbridge will hollow itself out, preserving appearances of progressiveness while practicing exclusion. This contradiction has been laid bare in the debate over the proposed 625 Winslow housing project. That site, once a defunct police station and parking lot, could provide dozens of homes for working families. Yet, week after week, A vocal minority has worked to derail the project with claims about traffic, groundwater, building height, and parking. The city's own traffic study found that impact insignificant. Multifamily housing uses up to 20% less water per unit than single-family homes. And while opponents cry about process, the process has been ongoing for over 3 years. What these arguments mask, often poorly, is something uglier, that affordable housing shouldn't be seen, that those who need it shouldn't be able to live on valuable property, and that water views are reserved only for the wealthy. That's the heart of the issue. The question before us now is simple. Who is allowed to live on Bainbridge? Who belongs here? What values do we stand for as a community? I believe Bainbridge is at its best when it opens its doors, not closes them. I know this because that's what allowed me to make a home here, and it's what gave me the chance to build a business that directly serves this community by providing equitable fitness and wellness programs for all people, regardless of income level or background. Through this funnel, myself and my team have been able to impact thousands of local residents. We cannot just celebrate stories like mine while shutting out those who follow. We must ensure that there is a space for teachers, caregivers, grocery clerks, and city staff, the very people who make Bainbridge work. I urge the council and my fellow islanders to push forward, to stand against fear and exclusion, and to embrace affordable housing fully. Anything less is a betrayal of the Bainbridge we claim to be. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Emily Graff.
Hi, everybody. I'm Emily Groff. I am disabled. I make, a little over $1,100 a month on Social Security disability. And for the past 27 years, I've lived on Bainbridge Island, and most of the time I've lived with family because there is no other choice on this island. I did sit on the waiting list for the rhododendrons on High School Road, just across from the school, for 3 years. And in 2020 was finally allowed to move in. That has been wonderful. The dignity afforded to people who can live and pay for their own space is priceless. It really is. And many of my neighbors, I have such a low income that they prioritized me, and it still was 3 years. Many of my neighbors waited much, much longer than that. And so the idea that I'd like to communicate is every delay is, in essence, a denial for people who need housing. This project has been in the works for a while. There are other projects that have been in the works much longer, and there have been other projects proposed that were shouted down by people who felt that it was not perfect in some way or another. And this project isn't going to be perfect either, but people will have a roof over their heads. They'll be able to be self-sufficient. They'll be able to live where they work. And as a bonus, every unit of housing you build takes pressure off the rest of the housing on this island. Everybody's rents might at least stabilize. They might even start to go down. So we need these units. And in fact, we need all 90 of these units. And I hope that you guys will come around to seeing that. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Nathan Bombardier.
All right. Thank you so much, Council, for having me. It's great to be here. My name is Nathan Bombardier. I'm from Bainbridge Island, born and raised. My parents still live here. I do live in Seattle now, but I still feel very much part of this community. I come here almost every month, and my heart is here. This is where my home is. I've also had a 6-year career as a project manager doing affordable housing real estate development in Seattle, working for institutions such as Bellwether Housing, Southeast Effective Development, and Catholic Housing Projects, managing projects valuing over $45 million collectively over my career. And I was ecstatic to learn about this project. This is an amazing opportunity for us. We can become a more inclusive and diverse community, and 92 households of workers, young families, and elders will have access to the amazing amenities of this island. I'm also extremely concerned about the pushback this project is receiving. Denying units Denying homes here is of enormous consequence. These units will change people's lives. Think about the way the Bainbridge has changed your life. How much has it meant to you to have a place like the Grand Forest? How much has it meant to you to have people who recognize you and care about you and support you here? How much has it mattered to have a school district that respects your children? This deserves to be shared. And make no mistake, any reduction in size is going to impact people's lives and their ability to experience what we are so blessed by. We do not know when we will have this opportunity again. The economy is uncertain, and that could have a huge impact on the future funding cycles of the low-income housing tax credit. In 2008, the recession put this program in a tailspin, but the Obama administration and the House bailed the program out. Do you think that will happen again if something similar occurs? This administration will not have the same reaction, and we have to act now to secure federal funding for affordable housing. We don't have a home to spare or a moment to lose, and the entire region is facing this crisis, and we have to do our part to also support low-income people and workers and elders on fixed incomes. So please act now. Let us please build these 92 units. We need every single one of them. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Lara Lant.
Thank you, council members. Let me start with this. I'm Laura Lant, 14042 Running Springs Place. I'm also a candidate for city council.
Sorry, we can't see.
Oh, okay. 14042 Running Springs Place resident. I cannot disagree with anything that has been said here tonight. I know many of you in the audience tonight, and I cannot disagree with a darn thing. Housing it's in a crisis here, but we need to respond to it. We need to do something. I can't disagree with mostly anything we can say. Okay, sorry. So to speak to the council members, the 625 Winslow project is no longer the same project that first was presented to you or to the community. The location has divided us between those who support housing at any cost and those who want housing created in a planned, financially responsible way. New information is clear. The site is extremely expensive. The unit count continues to shrink. Tenant structure under House Bill 1220 is still undecided. Public support is fragile. And developers like Lehigh are facing financial strain. As City Manager Blair King noted last week, you have the power to guide the next steps, including pausing this project until the comprehensive plan is complete. Meanwhile, other sites have become available that are better situated, less costly, easier to develop, and likely faster to bring online. If you are truly champions of housing and good planning and fiscal responsibility, I urge you to pivot from 625 and seriously consider these alternatives. I appreciate you are doing hard work, and I thank you for your work on this very difficult issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Dennis Gottlieb. I'm sorry, Dennis, you tell me your last name. I don't want to butcher it like that.
Hi, my name is Dennis Golick.
Thank you. Hi.
Thank you. And I'll be short. I just wanted to bring up the focus should be on people, not necessarily in housing. I'm a professor. I teach sustainability and social justice, and all the focus tends to be on the sustainability part, but not on the social justice. And social justice starts and ends with people. And with our program that we're looking at here, we should look at not just these 92, but we have to start now so that we can keep going forward. So I urge you to look at this very strongly and to start now so we can build upon it in the future. If we don't build it now, we keep kicking it down the road, it's just going to get harder and harder for us to do it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Next, Lisa Neal.
Good evening, Council. You'll be amazed and astonished that I don't have an opinion on the location of 625 Winslow project. I do have an opinion and a request to you. I did send you an article today from the paper about some very real questions about Lehigh and other developers of affordable housing. And I'm not saying it's their fault. I think there's a systemic problem with the model that's been used in the past, because now the developers are basically running out of money. And my question to you in my email was, so if we build this project and we have Lehigh's managing it and they don't get enough rent, because, you know, rents aren't going up as much as inflation is going. And that's been a 40-year thing ever since I got out of high school. If they don't get enough rents to cover things, where's the money going to come from? Are they going to come back to us like they are to Seattle and say we need another 14 million to repair the roof? And meanwhile, we didn't get enough rent. And you know, this parade of terribles I'm presenting is not a parade of terribles because it's in the article that I sent to you. And so my question to you is, have you thought about this? Have you examined it? Are you asking, you know, staff to look at this? What's the backup plan? What's the plan? Because I think it will happen. And it's a big project. It's not like 3 units where we can just, you know, write a check and cover things. And I have a second comment about, I understand Council Member Quitzlin is presenting a request tonight at the end of the meeting to set a time at a later meeting to change the definition under the code of Bainbridge Island of affordable housing. Right now it says up to 80% AMI. He's suggesting discussion to change it to 120% AMI. And for those who don't know, area mean income means half the people make less than that, half the people make more than that. So if it's 100% AMI, you've got 50-50. So if we're going to allow, or if we're going to promote with density bonuses up to 120% AMI, what does that mean? Well, what it means is we aren't going to be building enough under 80%. That's what the HB 1220 is talking about. That's where we have the gap, is under 80%. So if we're taking sewer hookups and water straws to build 120% units and the bonus density the developers get to build those units, this is it's not free. It's a zero sum. It's coming from somewhere. It's going to come from the affordable housing. And so what I've advocated to the Planning Commission and to you guys, and what I've been advocating for years, is we need to start with the affordable housing and not do market rate upzoning to benefit developers and landowners. Thank you.
Thank you. Sarah Blossom.
Sarah Blossom, Eagledale, Chair of the Planning Commission, but as always, here speaking for myself. I know it can be difficult to change course, especially when it might seem like doing so is turning away from an important goal like affordable housing. But reconsidering this site is not abandoning the effort. In 2022, the council was presented with a concept of a 66 to 74 unit building built under existing development regulations, but the project has shifted significantly over time to 100+ units with relaxed FAR, to 90 units with relaxed FAR, additional height, relaxed parking, to a preliminary plan that offers about half the parking called for in the development agreement from only 2 months prior, to a reduced 70-unit concept. Much has been said about the scale being optimal for funding, but the scale is not optimal for this location, and the right project needs the right site. Alternative sites do exist. In Winslow, I can name 5. The project we all want, one that balances scale with impacts, creates inviting public space, offers pride of place for residents, and includes adequate parking, so its residents are not denied the same freedom and lifestyle that the rest of us have, simply doesn't fit this site. I have another concern as well, and that is cost. Beyond the scale and how it fits the site, the characteristics of this particular site create added costs that will divert precious affordable housing dollars. As someone who is working on the comprehensive plan update and is familiar with what we're being asked by House Bill 1220, I can say with confidence that every dollar is going to count. We are not just being asked to show capacity anymore. Our requirement goes beyond that, and funding is going to matter. Choosing a more cost-effective site means more units can ultimately be delivered. I recognize and appreciate your responsiveness in considering fewer units, but reducing scope makes the project less competitive for funding. If it fails in its first application, we could be waiting 2 years for another chance, while $3 million in city funds and significant staff time remain tied up in a project that may never be realized. I think it's worth the effort to take a fresh look at viable alternatives, sites where a project can fit comfortably, where construction may be more efficient, and where partnerships could expand funding opportunities. That approach would put us on a stronger, faster, and more sustainable path towards delivering the affordable housing our community so deeply needs. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Marion Yeager.
Good evening, council members and City Manager Blair King. I want to begin by acknowledging the urgent need for affordable housing here on Bainbridge Island. I support that goal. At the same time, I believe that this property at the corner of Winslow Way is unique. It sits at the gateway to our city. It's where visitors have their first and last impressions. It's where the residents who live here pass it weekly. Because of its visibility and its significance, I urge you to preserve this corner for something that benefits the entire community, whether a park, a civic plaza, something that like Rotary has done across the corner, BEMA, maybe move the Bainbridge Historical Museum to that location where everybody who arrives can see what Bainbridge is made of. We have only one chance to get this right. Affordable housing is essential. It is essential for our community. But this site is symbolic. I urge you to find a more appropriate location. I know the work you're doing is difficult and hard. I understand that. Thank you for considering this perspective as you further make your decisions that will shape Bainbridge for generations to come.
Thank you. Next, Kathy Weiss.
Hey, good evening. I'm Kathy Weiss, lived here about 10 years. I own and run a property management company on Bainbridge, and I've been following this project now for a couple years, I think, loosely. And my thoughts are all over the map. So I think the city council has a messaging problem. There's a lot of chaos right now in the community, and all you have to do is get on the Facebook page, Bainbridge Islanders, and see neighbors against neighbors saying horrible things about each other. And when I think about it, I think, how do we stop this? Because nobody actually feels this way about each other. And it's a messaging problem. I served 27 years in the military, and we used to have a bluff, bottom line up front. Big strategic plans, put in a nice little thumbnail up front, because people don't have time. They don't have time to dig into all these reports. I asked Council Member Morawaki about a year ago, how did this project get started? What's actually happening here? Talking about Winslow 625 in particular. And I received a very dense 98-page report and your apologies saying this is really what we have. This is what we're working with. It's big, it's complex. And that one of the goals of the city council is to improve the website. So the website was tucked into this because that would help all of us get more information. I don't think that that's happened yet, because when I try to get information, I click on these hyperlinks after hyperlinks and I get more and more dense documents. So we're all lost in the abyss here of acronyms, FAR, AMI, LIHI, all these numbers and percentages being thrown around, and nobody has time. That's why we have a city council. You all represent us. No one wants to be vilified, either because they are on one side of it or the other side. And the only way to clear the air is to provide data and information to all of Bainbridge Island. Put some money into a messaging platform, a very simple one-page something or other that goes out there to simply say, we're trying to find this many houses. This is the amount of houses we have. This is the amount of houses we need to build. And this is the many places that we could consider building them. 625 Winslow, right in everybody's faces. So it's getting a lot of attention and it's only going to get worse. But I really encourage you to get ahead of the messaging and explain to all of us why this is the place and only this place. Thank you.
Thank you. Maddie Williamson.
Hello, good evening. My name is Maddie. I am a registered nurse. I'm a local nonprofit professional, and I'm a passionate advocate for public health initiatives for my community here on Bainbridge and beyond. I point out these identities and areas of expertise because I recognize that affordable housing, such as the 625 Winslow project, and reasonable access to work opportunities, grocery stores, schools, and spaces for communal gathering and leisure are a part of the social determinants of health, and these have really profound impacts on people's well-being in our community and beyond. I grew up here on Bainbridge Island, and as I move through adulthood, my eyes are becoming more open to the duality of life that we have here on Bainbridge, which is why I feel compelled to comment on the importance of low-income housing in our community. Bainbridge is a great place. I love taking 45 minutes to go to TNC to get two things because I have to stand there and talk to all of the people that I know, the people who helped raise me, the people I grew up with. Having that sense of community is a true blessing for anyone who lives here on Bainbridge and calls it home. But Bainbridge also has a really serious problem with economic classism and growing economic inequities beyond standard inflation that point to a cultural shift away from what this island prides itself on being, which when I was growing up was a close-knit, liberal, and open community. Life has always been on the pricier side on Bainbridge for obvious reasons, being on an island, but we must be very diligent about addressing the gaps that are being caused by reasons that are within our realm of control as a community. So some steps that I think can be taken to address some of these problems that are within our realm of control is remembering that everyone who is a part of our community deserves equitable opportunities to live in proximity to the ferry, to Winslow, and to other public services that are provided in that hub. Communities like ours need to be very wary of growing inequities and disparities at a social level, as these have profound consequences on people's physical, mental, and emotional health and well-being. We have to remember that adversity burdens don't impact all of us equally. What does that mean? Living within walking distance to primary commercial districts of our city is important for workforce housing so that people are not dependent on a car. Others have already raised this issue, but people who are already struggling to make ends meet do not have the financial cushion to absorb gas costs, repair costs on vehicles, and they don't have the luxury and privilege of time to make use of other resources like our sparse public transportation options. It's also really important to remember that none of us on this island are immune to classism and other biases that might cloud our better judgment or our moral clarity. You can say that classism doesn't exist here on Bainbridge and that we don't tolerate inequity and inclusion, but when 79% of our workforce, and that's heavily represented by service members, caretakers, and education industries, when these people don't live on the island, what is that besides economic classism? It's not a coincidence, it's actually a form of structural violence. The contestations of initiatives like low-income housing raises the alarm that there is an incongruence between our actions and the moral high ground that we claim to stand on. Any contradictions and interventions that make basic resources available and accessible to people working on this island must be seen as a community issue just as much as the need for the intervention is in the first place. Thank you.
Thank you. Next so I have two signed up as one. Do both Carol and David Grant want to speak? Or, okay.
Good evening, everyone. My name is David Grant. I'm a 32-year resident of Bainbridge and the proud parent of Jonathan Grant, who is the Chief Strategy Officer at Lehigh. I am not, however, speaking on behalf of Lehigh. I'm a big supporter of this project. I just want to address what's been going down in the colloquies on the Bainbridge Islander. It seems that the big issue, whether it's the real issue, I leave that to your judgment, but the big issue seems to be there are better places to put this project. And the subtext of that is that that corner is somehow iconic and needs to be preserved for who knows what. I've commuted to Seattle for most of my 32 years on the island. I've walked past that corner. There's been a variety of things. There used to be that lovely orange fence on the old gas station site. You know, it's not a great corner. This project is going to be very nice. It's going to be well landscaped. I mean, we're dealing with the average Bainbridge Islander who commutes either on foot or by car, drives through that intersection. They're going home. They're not paying a whole lot of attention of what's there. The transient people want to get the hell off the island as fast as possible. I don't see how this project, if it's built regardless of whether it's 4 stories or 3 stories, it's going to be, the people are complaining about how it looks. They can, and that's still in limbo, that people are going to have plenty of chance to impact how the structure looks. If they want it to look like Linwood Center, you know, fine. I like Linwood Center. But, you know, it's not going to be an eyesore, and it's important that we get this done. So I hope we can stay focused on the game here and not get distracted by people saying, oh, I've got a site down the street, it'll be perfect. Everybody's got their axe to grind. I don't discredit anybody's strong feelings about this, but the council has invested a lot in this project, and I see no reason why we should get distracted by the shiny object of a better site somewhere else. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ann Lovejoy.
Good evening. So much has been said. I'm not going to repeat it all. I would just like to point out that 200 years ago, this was entirely affordable housing, right? It was Suquamish fishing camps. Then when we moved in here in 1985, it was still almost entirely affordable. It had been described to us as a blue-collar island with a diamond necklace because all the fancy houses were on the waterfront. And I kind of feel like the waterfront issue is part of the problem here. I actually had I was astonished to have somebody say to my face, you know, people have worked hard all their lives to afford waterfront. Why should a bunch of people who can't afford it be allowed to live there? I was really ashamed for Bainbridge in that moment. Some of you know I live in the mobile home park, right around the corner from City Hall. When I told friends that I was moving in, people said things like, aren't you afraid? They'll strip your car. Well, clearly they'd never seen my car. Some of my neighbors are here laughing at me. But that little mobile home park was one of the original holdouts in terms of affordable housing for the island. But over the years, gentrification has crept in there too. And I'm not saying a bad thing about anybody because I love my neighborhood. But as the older ones were removed and the newer ones are come in, it's no longer truly affordable in the way that it was. And there are a lot of people, seniors
especially elders who lived here all their lives and who are not going to be able to afford staying much longer. And I just want to say, I feel like the richness of this community depends on diversity in every respect, in every aspect, and that the whole fuss about the corner is a red herring. It's really about racism, and it's about classism, and it's about NIMBY, I think they call it, right? Not in my backyard. I remember all the fuss over the affordable housing that was going to go in across from Northtown Woods that got shot down because neighbors thought it would be dangerous to have normal people there with affordable, moderate incomes in normal, affordable, moderate homes. I don't think it is. I think it's wholesome and healthy. One thing we do have in our community, though, is a lot of flamingos. Noble home parks need flamingos. It's part of the shtick, right? So I just want to say maybe more flamingos. We could even design that beautiful new building with a giant flamingo on top, and maybe that would help. Thank you.
Thank you. Eric Stahl.
Hi, good evening. I'm Eric Stahl. I'm a Bainbridge Island resident for the last 27 years, a member of the Race Equity Advisory Committee, here speaking just for myself. I'm here to speak in favor of the 625 Winslow project for all the reasons you've heard about. It's the right project in the right part of the city for services, for transit, for employment. It's an appropriate scale for downtown, and it targets housing affordable to working people, which is a grossly underserved need in this community. I want to offer some perspective on the backlash that the council is seeing to this project, which is entirely predictable. There are always people who will find a reason to oppose every realistic attempt to build affordable housing. And my perspective on this, I come at this as a former newspaper reporter and covering local news here on the east side in South King County and in some cities in Boston. And this is going back to the late 80s, early 1990s, so a generation ago. And Councilman Morawaki remembers when local newspaper reporters were there was a viable profession for a while. But I covered a lot of controversies like this in a lot of different cities. And every single one of them had the same predictable chorus you're hearing now of all the reasons why this particular project is no good or it's the wrong one. And frankly, it's a little depressing, all the more so now because we have Facebook groups to air this without any filter. And it's it's the affordable housing, but it's the same. I saw it over and over again. We support affordable housing, but not this one. I'm for affordable housing, but not at this corner. Heavens, what will the tourists think? Some of the concerns that may be real are often ginned up about traffic or noise or environmental issues that no one somehow thought to mention, until the project was prepared, or wait to build it at some hypothetical location at some point in the future. Or the endless stream of whataboutism. We should, build affordable housing, but in the woods. Or we're going to somehow ADU or mother-in-law apartment ourselves out of the affordable housing crisis. So it's been the same thing in every place across time. And I saw enough of these to I can say with confidence that it's tiresome. NIMBYism is somehow both endlessly creative and entirely predictable. So I hope the council will stay the course that it's on and proceed with making this project work. You're invested in it already. And I hope that in a generation from now, you all can look back and say, hey, we finally managed to get something good and important done. Thank you.
Thank you. That's the last person I have. Did we have anyone online? No. Okay. Olivia? Oh, sorry. Oh. Okay. Maria Seal.
Good evening, council members. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Maria Seal. I have lived on the island for a year and a half. My partner and I bought our hopefully forever home last January for almost $1 million. And that's the best you can afford on this island as an almost 40-year-old. We have to live with a friend to continue to pay our mortgage. And I continually fantasize about living on a commune, not because I'm trying to bring back the 60s in a cutesy way, but because it's impossible for my age group and below to afford to live. Please help us. I have been a longtime advocate for equity, creativity, and care. I used to own a retail store in Seattle, right across from a lot of big places downtown. Without shared income, I couldn't live here. I balanced multiple part-time jobs to stay afloat. Until recently, I worked at the Bainbridge Museum of Art, and I lost my position after speaking out about values I believe the institution wasn't upholding. Now I have returned to caregiving, work that I did in my early 20s. I'm proud to care for children and families here. I've also seen firsthand why there is a severe childcare shortage on this island because caregivers cannot afford to live here. There are a lot of elderly people who need and deserve care, good care. There are lots of people moving here to have children, and those kids need care. And I'm a part of the community that wants to be a helper. I also want to speak to an often overlooked population in these conversations, people with invisible disabilities. I am autistic. I live with both gifts and challenges that are not immediately visible, but they profoundly impact how, when, and where I can work. Many people like me are priced out of stable housing, forced into burnout cycles, or left behind by systems that don't accommodate our needs. I've even avoided registering as disabled with the government because doing so may bar me from being able to foster children in the future. And that is something that I've wanted to do since I was a child. This is why accessible, affordable, dignified housing is essential, because not all hardship is visible and not all value is defined by income. The 625 Winslow Workforce Housing Project offers a small, tangible path towards inclusion, towards giving working people, artists, caregivers, educators, disabled individuals, people of all economic status, a chance to not just survive, but to live here and belong. Bainbridge Island presents itself as a community rooted in compassion, equity, and progressive values, but values are only real when they are practiced. We can't claim to be inclusive, then make housing available only to the most privileged above us. Please approve this project and let Bainbridge be a place where everyone, regardless of income, ability, or background, has a seat at the table and a roof over their head. Thank you.
Thank you. Chris Garrett.
Hello, thank you for giving me a chance to speak. I have been a resident for 12 years, came from Southern California and then other parts of California. Since I've been here, I've seen the island get more and more crowded, especially that intersection. I don't know, is there a busier intersection on the island than the one that goes to the ferry? The lines going after a ferry arrives or before it departs are really kind of a problem. I do have a question. How many units would this project add? And how many people do you think it would add? And how much traffic do you think it would add? And I think that's a real concern. It's a problem already. So I'm against the project because it doesn't make sense to me. I think it's too expensive from what I understand. I think with the resources you have, you could do better for the low-income housing community by finding a better site where you could probably produce more units. And also, when I first arrived, we came to Seattle and there was a freeway. And there were other problems on the waterfront. It was pretty terrible introduction to Seattle. And first time I came to the island here, I was looking for this nice little town I'd heard about. But when I got off the ferry in my car, I didn't see it on that corner. I wasn't even sure which way to turn. The fact that it's been ugly forever
doesn't mean it has to be ugly forever. Now, I understand this is an improvement compared to where it's been, but I think this is an opportunity. And you talk about the cost of the project, which is relatively high, and how that might be spent elsewhere and get more for your money, but also the opportunity costs. Once that goes in, it's not going to change not in my lifetime. And the other thing is the commerce, the welcome, the feeling when somebody comes to a city. That brings money to all these businesses that employ the service industry. So it's a little more complicated than this all or none. It's not, it's not a question of whether you are against affordable housing. I don't think that. I think it's the way it's been polarized is unfair. I think most people, especially on this island, most people are very empathetic and they understand the issue. Am I out of time? Oh, I just saw a sign go up. Anyhow, I should be out of time because I've said enough. Thank you all.
Thank you. Marcia Cutting.
I have come to speak in support of the project. I think it's an ideal location for affordable housing. People seem to be confusing the difference between low-income housing and affordable housing. I happen to live in an affordable housing community, and my neighbors include architects, teachers, a bank manager, a chef in one of our restaurants, a retired professor, someone who works in a synagogue in Seattle, and a retired psychologist. That would be me. So we desperately need this housing. If there are other sites on the island, and I hope there are, let's make use of those as well. But abandoning this project in favor of those other sites means delaying affordable housing by quite a considerable time. And we need it now, not when it will arrive if we start over. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you all for such, Olivia, sorry about that. Last but not least.
This is awesome. Hi, I'm Olivia. I live on Winslow. I am the co-chair of the Race Equity Advisory Committee, but I'm here as a citizen and neighbor. So I don't really have much to say. Well, I do have a lot to say. I just wrote that. That hasn't already been said, but affordable housing is a priority. And it says so right there, right? Which I'm sure everybody has directed your attention to. And 625 Winslow is meant to be workforce housing, and it's ready to move forward. So I just beg of you that you understand that this is truly not a question of parking or pollutants or vibes, and that those things should be viewed as an opportunity to get creative, not an excuse to abandon the project site altogether. We forget amidst all the controversy that this is about families. It's about people and how we treat them on Bainbridge Island. Do not let preference supersede 70 to 90 families or people having a roof over their heads. We all know that when this is built, there will be an instantaneous wait list. And as the moving vans roll in and the bottom floor storefronts flip open their signs, another brighter chapter of Winslow will unfold. And I, for one, am excited. I'm excited for our city to invest in families with children who will enrich our school system. I'm excited for entrepreneurs to get a leg up by having stable housing. I'm excited to be able to call more of our first responders neighbors. Yet here we are again, arguing about how we can make Bainbridge more affordable, because perhaps the one thing we can agree on is that it absolutely is not. 625 Winslow was supposed to be a signal to our workforce that the city wanted to improve their lives too. Not just those who were the loudest at public meetings, myself included, or on Facebook. So yes, I support 625. I will say that vehemently, enthusiastically, and in perpetuity. I thoroughly believe that the council should vote yes to any plan that gets us the maximum number of units at 625 Winslow Way, because we are in a housing crisis and Bainbridge is part of the problem. So to that end, I want to thank everyone who thought of new spots. I hear there are 5 floating around. I think that's great. Thank you for getting involved in your community. Thank you for valuing workforce housing. Thank you for speaking up in favor for it. And I support building on all of those places, because I hope in the future we do. And I don't see why we can't do both. Thank you. As was said at last week's study session, Bainbridge is in the bottom 3% of the national benchmark for availability of affordable housing. We are the best at so much, and yet we are grievously failing at this. We should not be picking and choosing how we enrich our community. We should want it all. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, with that, public comment is closed and we are on to the consent agenda. Councilmember Murwaki.
Thank you, Member Matthews. I move approval of the consent agenda as presented tonight.
I second.
Motion made by Councilmember Murwaki, seconded by Councilmember Fantra Johnson. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And council announcements. You have any? Councilmember Murwaki and then Deputy Mayor.
A couple quick things. Last Friday, let's wait for the.
Maybe wait a minute.
I'll let the folks clear out first.
Yeah.
Stick around. Yeah, we're not done. Coach, I said she's
All right.
supposed to be. Oops.
Oh, wait.
Okay, council announcements. Councilmember.
Thank you, Mayor Matthews. On Friday, I had a 20-year reunion of a wonderful group called Suquamish Oglala Neighbors. They were a group created well over 2 decades ago because Old Man Park used to be a state property and they were not willing to transfer it to the tribe and their rightful ownership. This community group led that effort, and 20 years ago this year it happened. I was a part of that initial member because I was Congressman Jay Inslee's tribal liaison. So it was not only my duty, but it was really an honor to be part of that. And it was just a lovely celebration. Then on Saturday, around the country, there were protests and gatherings to protect our parks that are being attacked by this administration. And I was the keynote speaker at the rally in Seattle. It was at the beautiful Overlook Park. If you've never been over in Seattle, it's just a fantastic place by Pike Place Market. Speaking out against that effort and speaking about affordable housing, this morning I attended the Housing Kitsap Authority meeting. I'm one of the commissioners on that. And people don't know that they're building 4 duplexes, 4 duplexes, 4 units right here on Bainbridge Island at Southern Cross. It's a road that's at the north end of Blakely Harbor. And this is a pretty nice subdivision, nicer homes. And these buildings are going to be there. And if you could show up the slide, you're going to see the rendition of what that's going to look like. And today, we as the commission body awarded $1.6 million to JAG Construction in Port Orchard to start building this. They hope to start this this summer, and perhaps 12, 13 months and have that done. It'll be 2 and 3 bedroom units on top and bottom, and there'll be 2 other units if you can go to the next slide. And they're at the end of this cul-de-sac at that site. You can see the area and has a pretty generous place to live as well. And these are going to be affordable units. This is an example of what can be done to create affordable units. This is going to happen on our island. We'll have 4 new affordable units for 4 new families by the end of next year. And we had an update on our units. On Bainbridge Island, we have Finch Place, which has 29 units. And I bet people don't know where it is, but it's over by Marge Williams Center. And Rhododendron Apartments, of course, up on High School. There's 29 units up at Finch Place. They only have 2 vacancies. Rhododendron Apartment has 50 units. They only have 4 vacancies. But here's the point. You hear often, and I'm seeing this on social media, that 625 is just going to attract people from Seattle to live here. And we can't do anything. We cannot, by law, prioritize Bainbridge Island residents to live in a house because it's fair housing. Anybody should be able to live there. But to give you a sense, and someone alluded to that, at Finch Place right now, with only 29 units available, there's 465 people on the waiting list. the vast majority are Bainbridge Islanders. Rhododendron Apartments, there's 447 wanting the one-bedroom units, 172 wanting the two-bedroom units. Again, the majority are Bainbridge Islanders. So there is a pent-up demand, and if it is allowed, there's not going to be a problem with getting people from Bainbridge Island to get there. It's going to be a matter of who's going to get it and who's going to get the priority. So there is that need. It's clearly there already demonstrated and Housing Resources Bainbridge has their report, the same with their properties as well. So that's something that's happening, something to look forward to this year. A couple, 3, 4 houses that people can live in. And thank you for your time.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. And then I couldn't see who was first, Councilmember Schneider or Councilmember Dietz.
Doesn't matter.
Okay, go ahead, Deputy Mayor, and then Councilmember Schneider.
There are two things. I would have liked to share this with people who were in the audience for us, giving us their perspective on the island's needs and so on. Just two things that are relevant to where we are with planning here now. I drove to Bremerton early this morning to serve as a member of a grant recommendation committee. We're part of Kitsap County. Working with Kitsap County staff, the committee is evaluating applications for funding to benefit individuals and families who may be homeless, at risk of homelessness, in recovery, in need of mental health services, or simply elderly and on fixed incomes, unable to fully care for themselves and so on. There were 12 applications being reviewed at this time. We were there to interview the presenters of these applications. It was an extraordinary opportunity for me to see who is working in this area, what they're doing, what they're proposing. It's a wide range of resources and caring, and so many people dedicated to missions, and they were asking for real dollars, and I think the county does have quite amount of money to share with these applicants. Two of the presenters were speaking specifically with reference to people on Bainbridge. This is not something that all belongs to Port Orchard or Bremerton or some other place far from here. We're part of a spectrum, and the needs are common needs and very important. Looking ahead to the rest of the week, on Thursday, I'll be attending an important planning commission meeting. And I want to say, as I've said before, the planning commission is doing a lot of heavy lifting. And we have a light agenda. They've got a monster agenda for their meeting on Thursday. Just look at the agenda packet and you'll learn a lot. I say this to my colleagues. We should all be up to speed with what the Planning Commission is working with. They have a lot of information and guidance from Joe Tovar. They have other information to digest and to work their way through. And it'll be an important meeting, and it's preparing for future meetings. There'll be a marathon meeting on the 3rd of September and another meeting on September 4th involving the Planning Commission. So that's just, this is a time when I think the Planning Commission and the council and city staff and our consultants, we'll be talking about a consultant contract later in the program, in the agenda tonight. We've all got to be working creatively, cooperatively with each other. We each have separate and specific duties. And the more we know of each other's work, the better we will be. And the same goes for the community. The more you know of what's in the works, the less you will be fearing some awful result, because things are being done very carefully.
Thanks, Deputy Mayor. Councilmember Schneider, and then Councilmember Dietz.
Thank you, Mayor. On a lighter note, this coming Sunday, Squeaky Wheels is putting on their annual Bike for Pie. And if that doesn't put a smile on your face, I don't know what will. I know I see Councilmember Dietz there pretty much every year that I've been there. And I'm really looking forward to that ride. And then in a similar vein, that the Friday after that, on Friday the 5th, there's a ride being planned for electeds and staff by Leafline Coalition to follow the path of the STO, the Sound to Olympics Trail. And so I'm really looking forward to that as well. So yay for bicycling at the end of summer.
Right. Yeah, thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Councilmember Schneider, for mentioning Bike for Pie and the that bike ride from Pulsebowl to Bainbridge. Yeah, you will be there, myself, and I think Mayor Matthews, you'll be there. So all good. I did want to touch on what was the public comment given tonight and really thank, of course, most people left. Hopefully they'll hear how much I think it's fair to say we all appreciate people coming and speaking to us. I heard it said somewhere, so I won't attribute this to myself, but the stronger the arguments, the closer we're getting to the truth. And I think we're getting to the truth here with this discussion about 65 Winslow. So I welcome this discussion. I really do. I just ask that we keep it civil. And honestly, if you want to get nasty at a council member. We're used to it. Just not regular citizens, please. For the record, I support 625 Winslow. I also support it elsewhere. I've supported every affordable project during my terms of office, and I will continue to do so. So it's not an either or. So with that, one last thing. I do have my office hours this Saturday, 10 to noon at Cups Espresso. Great time to come talk to me. Here, I want to listen to you. What's your thoughts? Tell you what I know. So thank you.
Thank you. I'll just be really quick. This Saturday, I will be judging the zucchini races at the farmer's market. So really, again, serious business. And then Sunday, biking for pie. And I also really, really appreciate all the public comment. There's nothing cooler to me than seeing a full gallery. It just shows that folks are engaged and listening and wanting to participate in their community. And so that's important. To the commenter who spoke about messaging, noted, and that hear you loud and clear. Hopefully our new website is a little bit easier to navigate, but I don't think we can, hide behind a website, so there are things that we should be doing, and I'll work on that. In that vein, I've had the most peaceful week I've ever had. I deactivated my Facebook account. And I have to say, it's one of the best decisions I've made in a long time. So yes, so with that, we'll move on to City Manager's report.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I have a couple of items and projects I'd like to report to the council the progress of, and I have some pictures for you. The first project that I would like to just highlight for the council is the progress on the high water tank. As you know, this project is a $25.6 million project. It is the most expensive water project we have ever undertaken. The project is ahead of schedule. We expect it to be completed on time, and actually, again, it's on schedule. But it will not come online for a period of time because we have to complete some downstream improvements. We have these pictures, and then we have the next set of pictures. The purpose of the project was to gain more elevation. We have 2 water storage tanks. One of those tanks will be demolished. The issue that we are trying to address with the water storage tanks is that they were too low, and so there was a lot of dead water in them that was not circulating. So this tank will be provide healthier water, and also it will improve pressure and fire flows for us. So it's a project that people can't see, but we want to remind them. The next is I want to give you an update on the Eagle Harbor Fish Passage and also back to school traffic accommodations. So these are some pictures of the project. In terms of work that's been completed, we had prefabricated pieces that were dropped in that created the fish passage. Required about an 18-foot excavation down to that point. They have been placed in now. This is the culvert going through. The right-hand side so shows the sand and gravel that are introduced to make it more natural fish passage. The left picture on the left shows the structure that was installed. And then finally, we have a picture that was taken as of today of the status. So the retaining walls on the side are being installed and also backfilled. So the project is moving along. We want it done as quickly as possible, and no one will be more excited to have it done than I am. We also wanted to share with the council and the public the plans that have been made for back to school. There was a stakeholder coordination meeting, I believe, today between the City of Bainbridge School District, Kids of Transit, and the various emergency management agencies to just go over the plans for the start of school. A new temporary stop sign, I think it was installed today, but definitely not today, will complete it tomorrow, which will be a three-way stop, will be added at Linwood Center Road and Fletcher Bay Road. That's to address some of the traffic congestion we're going to anticipate with the start of schools. The temporary traffic signal timing is still being worked on, but we will adjust it for all-day operations with the commencement of school. And all-day operations means from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and it'll operate as a full traffic signal. We will have the police department and uniformed officers will be on scene for the first several days, beginning school to monitor traffic and also provide for traffic control as needed. Also, a separate project is the road maintenance project. The two locations that we're working on is Sportsman Club Road and also Baker Hill Road. Sportsman Club Road between High School and New Brooklyn. That work probably will be conducted over the weekend so to not conflict with school. And that is a preventive maintenance resurfacing project that will be occurring. So that's the update there. The projects are moving along schedule, and we're closely monitoring them. The council had asked at its last meeting for an update on its direction to the Planning Commission with regard to a limited affordable housing ordinance. That item is item 6B on the Planning Commission agenda for this Thursday. The Planning Commission will be asked to set a public hearing on that ordinance for September of 11th. It was already mentioned before, but we want to thank the Planning Commission for the extra work that it's doing on September 3rd. We'll have about an 8-hour meeting. The City Council provided direction with regard to the comprehensive plan on December 3rd of 2024, and we think that some progress now is being made on that direction that was provided back in December 3rd. So that completes my report.
Thank you, City Manager. And I forgot to say why I deactivated my Facebook. To the person who anonymously called me a DEI hire, I hope that you have the courage to maybe send me an email now that I'm not on Facebook, and let's talk. Okay, and next we'll move on to regular business.
Mayor, the next item we have is your final touch on a contract extension with our comprehensive plan and Winslow Sudbury Plan Consultants, LMN. We were asking for an extension of the contract and authorization for an additional expenditure from current budget funds allocated to the Planning and Community Development Department.
Good evening, City Council. Patty Charnas, Planning and Community Development. It's a pleasure to be here at your August 19 study session. We brought up a couple of questions that we thought you might like to have answered. I'd just like to quickly go over those same points because we're asking you to please authorize the city manager to sign the contract extension with LMN Architects. Next slide, please. And I at the time said, well, why do we need a contract? Well, we do need help for these large, complex projects. And we simply don't have the staff numbers or the level of expertise that the LMN Architect Group and its subconsultants bring to a large challenging project like the Winslow-Savaria Plan. And importantly, all consultants, and particularly this one, do not do work unless directed by a motion by the Planning Commission or through staff from a request by the Planning Commission. Next slide, please. So again, LMN and their subconsultants, EA Engineering and Strategic Economics, bring a wealth of the expertise that we need as the Planning Commission now really revs up their work. We're really excited about the near future, and we appreciate your consideration of approval of this contract. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Deputy Mayor.
I move to authorize the city manager to sign the professional services agreement with LMN Architects relating to the Winslow-Savaria Plan update.
I second. Motion made by Deputy Mayor Quitzlin, seconded by Councilmember Fantroy Johnson. All those in favor?
I'd like to speak briefly to the motion.
Very briefly, remember we got a birthday boy here.
Yes. Only to say LMN's work needs to be integrated with the Planning Commission's work. That hasn't been happening, and I hope it can be facilitated, and the way should be found to make clear how the two parties working separately will get the Winslow-Savaria Plan in final form, in draft form, so that we can see the whole shape of it. It's the hot parts have yet to be written, and I can't wait. I mean, I'm impatient to see how it all takes shape. I think that the Planning Commission has not understood clearly what they need to be doing to make the writing of the and design of the plan presentable to the public. And that's a matter that may involve communication that just hasn't happened yet. So that's important to me. And I think the work on the proof of our implementation steps, that's another portion that LMN has taken a lot of responsibility for. And I know that work has been done and it's work in progress. I want to see some of it brought to light so that we know the shape of things to come. So I just hope that'll be possible within the contract. Maybe some interpretation of our needs is going to help in that regard.
Thanks, Deputy Mayor. We voted? Did everyone get a chance? No. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Councilmember Morlacki. Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Now we are on to next item on our agenda.
Yes, we are asking the council to adopt the ordinance related to unlisted land uses. As the council would recall, this sets up a new path to treat applications for land uses that are not explicitly called out within our code currently, and provides for a way for that decision on how they should be listed to go through a more public process via the Planning Commission, and the planning director can provide that this is also the last touch, we assume, for the council on this.
Thank you very much, City Manager. Again, Patty Charnas, Planning and Community Development, City Council. At your August 12th regular business meeting, we presented to you a ordinance number 2025-13, which represented a lot of work by the Planning Commission on coming up with a process, a clear, predictable, and systematic process when there are uses that have no relationship to uses already published in our zoning use table. This, like I said, represents a lot of hard work, very careful work, so that not just now, but future planning managers, planning directors have the clarity when this very rare occurrence happens. And that's another thing I want to take the opportunity to emphasize is this probably shouldn't be used a lot, but in the cases of those really odd uses that have no relationship to existing listed uses, this provides a systematic approach to identify the proper permit path. So thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Planning Director Charnas. Councilmember I could, Councilmember Deeds.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Director Charnas. It was a lot of staff work, and we really, really appreciate this. This will just keep us from being surprised, us, everybody. So very good work. I'm going to go ahead and make the motion. I move to adopt ordinance 2025-13 related to unlisted uses.
Second.
Motion made by Councilmember Deeds, seconded by Deputy Mayor Quitzland. All those in favor? Oh,
Aye.
aye. Okay. Next. Communications. Councilmember or Deputy Mayor.
Yes, we're simply presenting something for a future agenda. No need for discussion. I request that this, hereby request that this request for consideration of pertaining to the definition of affordable and income qualified housing be placed on a future agenda.
Okay.
I second. Yeah.
Okay, motion made by Deputy Mayor Quitzland to put this topic on a future agenda, seconded by Councilmember Fantra Johnson. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. Okay, we'll look forward to that on a future agenda. I believe that's it. With that, we are adjourned.
Thank you,
Hey.